we have a very, very interesting topic at hand today. One that has several real-life applications. One that you've already learned. The topic I'm alluding to is trigonometry. Let's see if we can actually measure the height of a peak. Or for simplicity, instead of the peak, let's start with a pole. So let's say I have a long pole here and I need to measure its height. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to assume that I'm actually standing inside a hole of sorts and the ground is at my eye level. You'll soon realize why this is important. So the ground is at my eye level, so the base of the pole starts at my eye level and the pole goes on further up from there. Now we need to measure the height of this pole. How do we do that? Do we see a triangle anywhere here? Actually, we do see one side, right? The pole looks like a nice straight line, which is why I picked a pole instead of a mountain. We need two more lines, right? Or two more sides to form the triangle. If you join the pole to my eye, that could be the second side of the triangle. This is nothing but the distance on the ground, how far away I am from the pole. Now, imagine me looking up at the pole and imagine the ray of light that is touching the top end of the pole and reaching my eye. If you were to imagine that ray of light and you draw a line for it, call it my line of sight, that could be the third side of the triangle. That could be the hypotenuse of the third side of the triangle. One side, the vertical side of the triangle, is our pole. The horizontal side is the distance between the base of the pole and my eye. And the third side is my line of sight. Perfect. So we have a triangle here. All we need to do is measure one side of this triangle. How do we go about measuring that side? The horizontal distance, if you see, can very easily be measured, right? I could just start at the base of the pole and walk up to here and measure it. It's a distance on the ground. Very simple to measure. So this distance we can measure. Let's say we measure it and it's 30 meters. Now the height of the pole, let's say the pole is high, we cannot reach the top. You're not going to do pole climbing, right? So we cannot practically measure the height of the pole. If we cannot measure the height of the pole, neither can we measure the distance of the hypotenuse, because it's the same logic, correct? Again, you need to reach the top of the pole to be able to measure the hypotenuse. So it's not going to be practically possible to measure the hypotenuse. If we could, then you would simply use Pythagoras theorem. If you could measure the hypotenuse, you would use Pythagoras theorem to find out the height. But that doesn't work, right? If you could measure the hypotenuse, you could very easily measure the height itself. So we cannot measure the hypotenuse. What else can we measure? Now, remember, we are talking about trigonometry. Trigonometry is something to do with angles. One angle is anywhere right angle triangle, which is why we can apply trigonometry in this triangle. Can we